a lot like the first passage. These are some really powerful words. If I claim to love God, but I don't love my brother, I'm a liar. Those are some harsh words, aren't they? I think we ought to take that a little bit seriously. But you know what? A lot of times our Christian brothers are the people we treat the worst. Maybe I don't want to associate with that church over there because they're charismatic and they speak in tongues. Don't want to work with them. Maybe I don't want to go to that church over there because they're ultra-conservative and they don't think women should wear pants. Don't want to associate with them. And we don't want to have anything to do with our Christian brothers. That's not right. We're supposed to love our brothers. But you know what else? It goes beyond denominationalism. Our own denomination, we have several Baptist conventions. And they're the people we really don't want to work with. That's ridiculous. Because we're supposed to love our brothers. Let's take it a step farther. What about your brother that's sitting in the next pew? I don't want anything to do with that group that sits back over there. I certainly don't want anything to do with that group sitting right there. Our brothers in our own church are a lot of times the people we're the worst to. And we argue over ridiculous things. We argue over the color of the carpet, what kind of music we should sing, whether there should be chairs on the platform, what size the pulpit should be. It's ridiculous. And we talk badly about each other when we disagree, don't we? We shouldn't do that because we're supposed to love our brothers. Another group of people we're supposed to love is our neighbors. Let me tell you a story. There was this Christian guy, and he was driving to Wednesday night church. On the way, he saw a pole in the middle of the road, like a metal pipe. And he swerved to get out of the way, and he couldn't get out of the way in time, and he hit the pipe, and it blew out 2 of his tires. He keeps the car in control. He pulls over to the side. He lost 2 tires. He's only got 1 spare, but he puts it on. Cell phone's not working, so he can't call anybody, and he's stranded there. Sure enough, a little while later, a car comes driving, and it's a family. And as they're driving, the dad tells his kids, well, you really shouldn't stop and help people because we don't know who they are. They might want to hurt you. They might want to rob you. We don't know who they are, so it's not really safe. He drives on past. A little while later, guess who comes by? It's the Baptist preacher. That's right. And he drives past. He's on his way to Wednesday night church too. And he sees a guy standing on the side of the road, and he says, I'd like to help this guy. But I'm going to be late for church, and I've already got my suit on. I get it dirty. You know what? I'm going to pray for the guy. Dear God, please send someone to help him. And when I get to church, I'm going to call the police and see if anybody helped him already. And he goes on by. A little while later, another car comes by and pulls up. The door opens. Who got out? Maybe it was a homosexual couple. Maybe it was. And they get out of the car. These 2 men. They help him get his tire off. They give him a ride down to a tire shop. They buy him a brand new tire. And they bring him back, help him put his new tire on. He offers to pay them, and they say, no, we're just glad we could help you, and send him on his way. So let me ask you this. Who was a neighbor to the man? You see, we've heard the story before. We call it the story of the Good Samaritan. The reason I told it the way I did is because that's probably more similar to the way it sounded to the Jewish ears then. Why? The Samaritans were the people that the Jews didn't want to have anything to do with. They did not want to associate with those people. They were the worst of the worst. And the reason I use the homosexual, because we don't want to associate with them. But it might not be them. Maybe it was somebody else. I don't know. Maybe it was a group of illegal aliens. I don't know. Maybe it was a couple of goth teenagers. Do you know who they are? The ones with the long black hair, black makeup. Maybe it was them. The point of the story was the people who helped, they were the ones that the man in the story didn't want to have anything to do with. So who's our neighbor? I think what Jesus is telling us in the passage of the Good Samaritan is that our neighbor refers to the community. They're the lost world around us. That's who he was telling them, because they asked, who is our neighbor? And he told them that story. The lost world around us. And we're supposed to love our neighbors. But that's kind of hard for us. Because a lot of times, we're angry about non-Christians acting like non-Christians. Which is ridiculous, because they're not Christians. We get upset that non-Christians go to a bar and get drunk. Well, sorry. They don't believe what you believe. And that's a waste of time. We're supposed to show them love. We're not supposed to be angry at them because they're sinners. I recently heard about a ministry. I was actually watching the Travel Channel the other night, and they talked about this ministry called the Beach Reach Ministry. Has anybody heard of them? I had never heard of Beach Reach Ministry. Do you know what they do? They go to South Padre Island at spring break. They're there right now. And what they do is they meet at the Island Baptist Church, and they give rides to kids on spring break. Kids call them up and say, we need a ride, and they go pick them up. They'll pick the kids up at their hotel, and they'll drive them to the bar. They'll pick them up at the bar at the end of the night and drive them back to their hotel. They'll take them anywhere they want to go. And in the morning, when those kids wake up hungover and hungry, they say, come down to the Island Baptist Church, and we'll feed you breakfast. I think that's a pretty godly ministry. You see, they don't preach to the kids in the van while they give them a ride. It's kind of funny to see, they showed it on TV, all these First Baptist Church vans from different cities around the country were taking kids and dropping them off at the bar. It was funny to see. But they got there. They didn't make them listen to KVMV in the car. They didn't do that. But when they got there, they just said, Jesus loves you, have a good evening. And all they were trying to do was serve their lost community. And I think Jesus would have been involved in something like that. He was always trying to serve our lost community.